I freaking love Pokemon. Starting with the Game Boy Advance versions, I've been collecting these little bastards for over 10 years now. I even completed the Pokedex on Black version. But sadly, I don't think I'll be getting into the next generation. Other than graphics, the game has been extremely slow to change, and the same formula over and over again has just began to wear on me. The worst part is that I think with just a few changes, Pokemon could be so much better. So in no particular order, here's my list of 4 changes that I believe would vastly improve Pokemon. Number 1. A rebalance of Pokemon stats. Pokemon has always been a bit imbalanced. Some final stage Pokemon are just better than others. Changing around stats a little bit to make more Pokemon viable competitively would punish people less for using Pokemon that they like. Now there has been a bit of rebalancing in some of the more recent games, and Mega Evolutions gave some Pokemon more competitive potential, but I still feel like there are so many Pokemon that are just unusable. I also think legendary Pokemon should be legendary. They should have higher stats than the rest. Let them be in their own tier. Number 2, make the game harder. Yes, I know the game is technically for kids, but that doesn't mean it can't be a little bit challenging. I'm not talking about from-level soul-crushing difficulty here. As it is, most of the difficulty in Pokemon comes from this gauntlet-style tedium. Usually individual trainers are taken down by simply mashing the A button, and by the midway point in a Pokemon game, you usually far out-level the things you're meant to be fighting. Going back to my first point, I think rebalancing Pokemon stats would add a bit of difficulty to the game. After all, trainers generally tend to have very weak and low-tier Pokemon, while the starters given to you are very powerful in comparison. I also think that AI really should be improved for a lot of these trainers. They should do things like switch out their Pokemon, or at least attempt to use attacks that would be super effective, or effective in the first place. Really, anything other than using Growl for the 10th time in a row would be an improvement. If the game was made overall more difficult and some of the tedious grinding was removed, I think the game would be a much more enjoyable experience. Number 3. Make hidden stats less hidden. For those of you who don't know, Pokemon has several layers of hidden stats. Between independent values, effort values, natures, and egg moves, there is a lot you can do for your Pokemon to make them more powerful, and the game doesn't really tell you. Within the game, these things are very poorly explained and require hours of research outside of the game to understand and use properly. Now, in recent games, the addition of super training has been a big step forward, basically allowing players to view their Pokemon's effort values, but making the rest of these stats more accessible would be a huge improvement. It could be as simple as a tab on the status screen that shows you your Pokemon's independent values and a few NPCs throughout the game that explain what they are. The game is marketed toward kids, right? Shouldn't it be fairly easy to at least understand how to play and how to make your Pokemon more powerful? Number 4. An overall increase to Pokemon health. When I play Pokemon, I spend a lot of time breeding, raising, and training each individual member of my team to try to get them to perform just the way I like. I grow attached to them. It's so frustrating in a battle to see them go down after just 2 or 3 hits. It also seems to make using anything other than big, hard-hitting moves a less than optimal strategy. If Pokemon across the board had a slight HP increase so they could just take 1 or 2 more hits before fainting, I think we would see a lot more of these kinds of power-up moves, status changing, or other kinds of special moves have a bit more of a place. If Game Freak just made a few of these changes, I think Pokemon would improve significantly. Now, do I think they actually will? Hell no, Nintendo makes its money off doing the same thing over and over, catering to the people who can't tolerate any amount of change. Will I still buy the new games? Obviously. Can't help myself. Well, what do you think? Would these changes help improve Pokemon, or do you think Pokemon is fine exactly the way it is? Tell me in the comments. And if you like my videos and want to see more, remember to subscribe. Before I go, let me just thank World of Long Plays and Hdclob for letting me use their gameplay videos. I'm putting some links down in the description to their YouTube pages and website. I don't have a capture card for handheld devices, so without them, there's no way I would have been able to make this video. Anyway, I'm Kothrix, and have a wonderful day.